longer video today, kind of going through and trying to demystify some things around black truffles, because there's a lot of different types and a lot of different price points. Welcome to another truffle video. Today we're going to talk about black truffles, specifically black winter truffles, because the information can be a little bit confusing and it's pretty understandardized, the information that's out there for chefs and for home cooks too. So basically, most people will think of tuber melanosporum, the French black truffle, but it's also in Spain and Italy and the Pacific Northwest and Australia and Chile, grown in a lot of places. They'll probably think of tuber melanosporum. And it does grow in the winter, but there's also, at least, I'm only going to cover 4 total, but 3 different species that can also be sold in the winter, that are harvested in the winter. They may have a slightly different season, but they're all at different price points. They all have different flavors. They are all different. They're all worth getting to know. So we're going to talk about those. Truffle Cart is one of my favorite truffle suppliers, and when you're paying, a decent amount of money for an ingredient, you want to make sure that you have a good supplier. And every truffle I have ever bought from them has been great, good aroma. So I asked Truffle Cart if they would give you guys a promo code. I will also add, they're not compensating me at all for talking about this. I just bought a bunch of truffles from them this week, and they replied enthusiastically. So get this, from now until February 25th, so that includes Valentine's Day, you can get 25% off your entire order if you use the promo code, my last name, capital BERGO. That's at trufflecart.com. 25% can add up pretty quick when you're talking about truffles. Tuber melanosporum. So the first one is tuber melanosporum. Tuber melanosporum, so it's got a bunch of names. It's known as the Trufa negra in Spain, the Tartufo Nero de Norcia in Italy, the Truffe Noir or the Perigord truffle in France. Like I said, it's also grown in different places around the world. I've heard it takes 30 years for them to incubate in the trees that they're growing with. So these are the most expensive, and they are said to have, the aroma is kind of described as sweet. It's very truffly. It's also a little earthy. There's a little bit of like musky smokiness in there, but these are the most expensive. And the price is going to run, it can vary wildly from, I've seen the lowest at like $600 a pound to like $1,400 a pound, depending on where they come from. But they're all the same species, tuber melanosporum. So they're going to be dependably good and dependably expensive. There's a lot of little minute details that you can look at in the truffles themselves, which I won't get into, but the smell is fantastic. Most expensive, there you go. Tuber brumale. The next one is tuber brumale. So I have some B grade here. So B grade is cheaper than A grade. So the B grade are smaller. You can compare them here with the A grade. This is actually an extra grade. And tuber brumale is basically like a weedy truffle that will grow alongside tuber melanosporum. So somewhere along the line, they had a common ancestor. And they kind of look similar at first glance, but the aroma is very, very different. So the tuber brumale, and unfortunately I don't have all 4 truffle species here. I do have videos on all 4 of them I'll get up sometime. Right now I just have 2. Now, so the first thing you notice with the brumale, I'm going to add, these are one of my favorites, and just about everyone that I have taste these, a lot of them prefer tuber brumale. It's got this smoky quality to it, like peat, like smoky peatiness. There's a little bit of truffle on the background, but it's mostly this peaty, smoky quality. So this is an underdog truffle. Like I said, a lot of truffle cultivators think of them as a weed, and they might try to remove them because they don't sell for as much money. Well, that's their loss. And I really want to promote tuber brumale because I think it is a great entry gateway truffle for people, mostly because of the price, but it also has a really strong aroma. So for tuber brumale, for about 3.5 ounces, you're going to pay anywhere from $60 to $90 or $45 to like $75 with the 25% discount. That is a lot cheaper when you consider that's 3.5 ounces compared to tuber melanosporum is going to be like $100 to $140 for 2 ounces, right? So you get a lot more truffle to play around with and kind of cut your teeth on, so to speak. So that's tuber brumale. They're fantastic. They taste like smoky, peaty musk. Like, I also call them the Scotch truffle. Tuber mesentericum. The next truffle is called the Bagnoli truffle. This is tuber mesentericum. And this also grows in the winter, like all of these, but the season might start a little earlier, like October or something like that. And they are not as dark on the inside. The gleba is a little bit more brown. And these have a mild mushroomy aroma. They have truffle, but it's a mild mushroomy aroma. Some people compare the aroma to like kerosene or call it a phenolic or like a chemically aroma. I don't really get that. I do get that with Oregon white truffles, like ammonia. But once they breathe a little bit, you get this really nice kind of mushroomy quality to them. So these are very good too. They're also some of the cheaper truffles. They're the cheapest ones that I've found that Truffle Cart sells, and they're going to cost you about $80 for 3.5 ounces. And they can actually be cheaper than the brumale. They're still very good. They're not going to have quite the punch as the tuber brumale, but they also don't have that smoky, peaty, musky flavor. So those are very good truffle too. And I'll put links to all of these in the video description. Last but not least, tuber macrosporum. There is the smooth black garlic truffle. So this is tuber macrosporum, and this is probably the most obscure truffle that I've worked with. They can be kind of hard to find because a lot of purveyors don't want to sell them because they consider them inferior to tuber melanosporum. So just like the name implies, the peridium, the outer black coating, is kind of smooth, and then they have this really intense garlicky, with a little bit of truffle, this garlicky allium aroma, and garlic and alliums go really well with truffles, but these are the only black truffle that I've tasted that have a garlicky aroma that is, it's definitely not anything near as strong as an Alba white truffle, but they do have that garlicky aroma that you will get with those truffles. And these are a little bit more expensive than the brumale and the mesentericum, at least when I'm recording this, and they're going to be about $100 for about 3.5 ounces at Truffle Cart. I'll put links to all of these in the video description. Now let's talk a little bit about cooking truffles. There you go. A little breakdown on 4 different types of truffles, 4 different types of, there you go. A little breakdown on 4 different types of black truffles that could also be called black winter truffles. A little bit on the prices, flavor notes. If you want recipes and more ideas for cooking with truffles, I have a lot of ideas and things you can make on my website. There's a link at the top of the video description for that. Thanks for watching.